We're really excited to have everyone here tonight. This is the first series of our career conversations that we're doing this season. Essentially, what we're doing is bringing different industries in, specifically tonight's IT and engineering, to talk a little bit about what they do, and so you can learn more about various career paths. So just to introduce myself, my name is Christina Tonio. I'm the Director of Industry to Campus Connections at the Center for Career and Professional Development. It's a mouthful. Essentially, I manage our employer relationships for the university. And so prior to joining USF about 2 months ago, I've been in the corporate arena for 2 decades. Don't like to admit that, but it's the truth. So essentially what my role was developing internship and full-time programs and managing and executing the recruiting strategy, deciding what campuses to go to, et cetera. So I was kind of on the opposite end of what I'm doing now. So I have the employer perspective to share as well. And there are also other members of my team that you'll be meeting with and seeing throughout the course of your time here. We've got some back here if you want to do a quick wave, and then outside Ivan and Edson specifically who are on my team. And so just to give you an overview, again, the reason why we developed these events is so that we could present to you a variety of companies that are associated with a particular industry, and you can hear about different what the companies do, what they're looking for, and the various paths to get there, because there is no one clear-cut career path for anyone. So we would like to share, or they will share, what theirs have been like. So just from a logistical perspective, we're taking questions throughout the session. So for you guys in the room, if someone says something and you have a question about it, feel free to raise your hand. We're going to be taking questions from the chat as well. So those who are being streamed in are going to be muted, but they can ask questions via chat, and then someone will just alert me and we'll jump in with the question. Does that sound good? Okay. So I will stop talking now and go ahead and have our panelists introduce themselves. So I'd love to start by each of you introducing yourself. So just your name, your title, your company, how long you've been there. And we also have 2 alums on the panel, by the way, who will mention that they are as we go through the intros.
Okay. It's like that's just by sitting. It's okay, right?
Yeah, that's fine. Absolutely. Okay. Informal. Keep it casual over here.
Hi everybody. Good evening. My name is Gavin Goyal. I've been working with Tata Consultancy Services as a program manager for their IT projects, and I've been there with TCS from last 18 years, and working as a program manager there. Anything else you'd like to mention?
No, just intros to start. That's perfect.
Nice. Okay. Hi, my name is Brittany. I'm with FDM Group. We do IT consulting. I'm with FDM now for about 5 years, and my title is lead recruiter.
I'm Tim Richter. I'm with Mosaic. We're a crop nutrition company. Locally, we make phosphate-based fertilizer. I'm a reliability superintendent for our Florida mining operations. Been with Mosaic 15 years, and I'm one of the USF grads. So here a while ago now, and did a co-op program with Mosaic. And
thanks. My name is Eric Francis. I'm with Height Design. We're a local land development engineering firm. My title is Vice President, and I've been there a little over 10 years. And I'm also an lead for USF.
Hi, my name is Sandy Lugo. I'm an engineering project lead right now at L3 Harris. And I've been there for a little bit over 4 months, returning actually. So maybe the story will come out a little later how that happens. But I've been in the industry for a while, and I remember taking my last master's class here at USF online. I moved when I moved from New York and here, but so I didn't get added into the alumni, but yes, so that's my story.
Thank you. And also to note, we have many students who registered for this event. We may get some trickle in and that are we've got several online as well. So we don't see them sitting here. That doesn't mean they're not there. We just want to mention that. And also, so next, could you each provide just kind of a high level overview of what your companies do And generally speaking, at the university level, what types of roles you hire for, whether they're internships, block programs, full-time. And maybe we'll start at this end this time, switch it up a little bit. Sure, just a little bit about, just talk about your company first and foremost, and then, the types of, jobs that you have available at the university level, internships, co-op programs, full-time, et cetera.
So I'm Harris, if you'd like to find out what opportunities are there for you, depending on your degree or what you're studying, you can go to the career website at eltonharris.com. And we do hire summer interns every summer. We usually have about 18 to 20 interns, specifically in downtown St. Pete. But there are other divisions. In my division, we do the black box reporters for airplanes, commercial aviation.
Very cool.
All right, so Height Design is a local land development engineering firm. And what we do is we predominantly specialize in these master plan residential communities. So we have departments in entitlement and planning, community planning, land development engineering, ecological services, landscape architecture, and even construction inspection. We essentially, what a master plan community is large scale neighborhood, often has other components aside from residential, right? A lot of transportation incorporated within, oftentimes school sites, commercial areas, apartment sites, but predominantly these large scale, decade long, multi-phase subdivision projects. As far as what we're hiring for, we have a really good internship program that we offer. We have recently been trying to develop a little better relationships with the local schools and do the career fairs and stuff. So we have summer internships, but we can also do during the school year time, specifically for the ones here at USF. Our main office is here in Tampa. We also have an office in Orlando and Panama City Beach. And then we're also always looking for full-time employees. High Design has been around in the Tampa area for a little over 70 years. Each time it's transitioned internally, right? So all the ownership groups have come from former employees. One of our current owners started as an intern. And so because of that, like our culture is really focused on development, right? So we look for good fits that seem teachable and eager to learn about what we do and to do what we do. And then we found that we can kind of mold them into learning exactly what we do easier than taking somebody that might not be a great fit, even if they're qualified. So big internship program, a lot of early development and career development stuff, and high ceiling essentially. So that's about Height and what we're offering.
I love that your leader started as an intern. That's a good story.
All right, so like I said, Mosaic's a crop nutrition company. Just to kind of expand on that a little bit, we make a phosphate fertilizer here in Florida, and we make a potash fertilizer up in Canada and New Mexico. A little about the Florida sites, which is where we have the internships that we're talking about. But we actually have 3 mines about an hour south of here, so we use drag lines to strip mine phosphate rock right out of the ground. We process that at our concentrate plants, which are another like an hour away from here. Basically turn that into a water soluble product that you put on your plants or out in your ponds and helps the crops grow. There's a lot of stuff kind of in between those 2 sections, a lot of big heavy equipment that was what got me interested in it. I'm a mechanical engineer, just have always been kind of into big pieces of equipment and that sort of stuff, and Mosaic's got tons of that. I've kind of done a couple different roles within Mosaic. Maybe we'll get over to that yet. For what we offer for co-ops, we have co-ops every semester, spring, summer, fall. We do co-ops for engineering, all the disciplines of engineering. We do IT internships as well. We do, and then even non-technical internships. A lot of opportunities there. We're at the career fair, so if you're ever interested, stop by and see us or check out the website and what all on there.
So again, FDM Group, we do IT consulting and professional services. So we actually specialize in recruiting new graduates for entry-level IT positions. So specifically right now, our biggest area of recruitment, I'd say, would be software development, anything within software development, development operations, technical operations. We do have our business side as well. We do, I'd say like maybe twice a year, run a cohort for business analysis and project management. But I guess like just an overview of how your journey could like look like here with us is that you would start off in one of our training streams cohorts. So we're going to train you specifically to what our clients are looking for right now for development. It's primarily in Java. So we're going to do Java development. And then after roughly about 13 weeks of our training, we place you on site as a consultant to work with one of our clients for a 2-year graduate kind of like career development program that we call it. And then afterwards, a lot of our clients actually want to take you on full time. So it's kind of like almost like bridging that gap that a lot of employers want entry level grads to have. So it's kind of get you a foot in the door with some of our clients potentially. But yeah, that's what we do. So yeah, new grads, that's pretty much all we hire. We don't offer internships or co-ops, but yeah, new grads.
So, Tata Consultancy Services as TCS. So it's a IT services and business solutions organization which provides the business solutions to many of the largest businesses in the world, including a lot of Fortune 500 companies. And we have a presence in almost more than 50 countries and over roughly 600,000 employees. And in terms of offerings, we do offer internships, not much, but we do. And in terms of full hiring, we do hire graduates all over the US from all schools. In fact, in my current team, we have people from USF, we have people from FSU, UCF, everywhere, University of Florida, everywhere. And when we hire straight from the schools, the graduates, we do have a training program for them for first 3 months or so. And after you finish up your training, then you will be assigned to a particular project, depending on your skills, your background of your studies. So, yeah.
As you see, we have a pretty wide variety of different kinds of types of organizations within IT and engineering, and also different types of roles that they're hiring for. So it's nice to see that diversity. So now I'd love for each of you to talk about your career paths. And you can provide any detail that you believe to be relevant, or that just everyone obviously has a different path they follow, whether it's going into the job that they wanted right out of school, or maybe it takes them a while to figure out what they want to do. Would love for each of you to just kind of tell your story about that. Maybe we'll start in the middle, if you don't mind.
Yeah, so I mean, so like I said, I'm a graduate from here, so I was up here, and I knew I wanted to be a mechanical engineer. I didn't really know what exactly I was going to do in mechanical engineering. I was always into like cars and stuff like that, so I was like, oh, I'll be an automotive engineer. And ended up going to one of the career fairs here, Mosaic was here, and I honestly didn't know anything about them at the time. And I grew up here. I grew up in Central Florida, so I really should have known who they were. Kind of our neighbors that I just never knew about. But anyway, I ended up interviewing for a co-op position with them, and got on and loved it. I was working at our New Wales facility at the time in a reliability engineering role, which is basically like going out, working with the guys who maintain the equipment, doing failure reports, going looking at stuff that broke, trying to understand why it broke, and ways to fix it and not let it happen again. So I loved it. Did three terms of co-op. So I did delay my graduation a little bit, but ended up being worth it to get the experience and the time to do that as well. Ended up getting a full-time position in the same role that I co-op for. I got a full-time role as a reliability engineer out at one of our mine sites, and that was kind of like my foot in the door. And just, the cool thing about Mosaic is because we are such like I guess I'll just call it like a diverse industry. There's plenty of room to like bounce around into different roles, even within engineering. engineering or management. So I have kind of a crazy career path. I started as a reliability engineer, did that for a few years, and then went into supervision. I actually became a supervisor and led a crew of maintenance guys, of mechanics, maintained one section of one of our plants. So very interesting experience, very different from engineering, but really enjoyed it. From that, I went into a project manager role. So sites get money to keep the assets functioning. So I was running projects, $1 million, $2 million projects to keep assets up and running, basically. So did that for a little while, and then went into like maintenance leadership, where I was over the maintenance of an entire department. Did that for a few years, and went into the operation version of that. So it was maintenance and the operating side of the plant. And then just recently, I went back to engineering. So now I'm back into a reliability engineering role, where I'm a reliability superintendent and have a team of reliability engineers that work for me. So just like I said, it's very, very different kind of roles all within the same company. So that's one thing I like about it, and that a lot of other people do too. Is you don't necessarily have to change companies to find something you like to do. So.
Circle around that way.
Sure, yeah, absolutely. So I was always interested in science and math. I just kind of seemed naturally good at it. So, even in early schooling, kind of landed towards the STEM fields, and I got into engineering specifically because I liked kind of the idea of working through problems and solving problems. Every summer in high school and even into college, I worked in residential construction, so that kind of led me down the path of civil. I don't really know why exactly, but got into civil engineering and thought I was going to focus on structures. Once I got into some of the coursework, I really liked the water resources and the environmental portion of it better. So shifted towards that. I graduated here at USF in 2010. 2010 was just coming off the housing crisis. It was a little different time for civil engineering. I took a job actually working in subsidence, which was a real flash in the pan portion of the industry. These sinkhole investigations, it was really driven by litigation, and it came and went very quickly, but it filled a gap for a lot of civil engineers in the time when other development wasn't going on. And I got out of that portion of the industry within a couple of years, but that job really helped me. I mean, it helped me understand how to be an employee and how to communicate with clients and the staff and stuff. So it was still valuable. But after being there a couple of years, some of the private development picked up a little bit, and a fellow alumni friend from college reached out and asked if I wanted to come work at Height Design. And so that was a little over 10 years ago. So when I went there in design. We could get into what land development engineering is, but there's a lot of design that goes into a lot of stormwater modeling, stormwater routing, grading, utility design. And I learned a lot about that. And as I talked about, they really developed the people. I hadn't done any of that for work yet, but they taught me how, and I took to it and really enjoyed it. After a few years of being in design, I had seen some of the project managers. I kind of liked that interaction with clients, liking interaction with regulators, liked helping develop staff. And so, my career shifted a little bit more towards project management after doing design for a few years. And the design made me a much better project manager than had I not gone through that part of it. But that was the path that I kind of chose for myself, and it was available from the company, and I appreciated that. And about a year ago, I got promoted into being a vice president, which has opened up some business development portion stuff for me, and I'm really enjoying that part of my career as well. So getting to do some of the recruiting efforts and some of the, like I said, business development and planning stuff on that side has been important. I do want to make one point, if I could. Sometimes in engineering, and it happened for me, but sometimes in engineering, you get this impression that to grow in your career, you have to shift to management. And it's not always the best philosophy, right? Because what makes you a good engineer might not make you a good manager. And so I appreciate that at Height Design, I had the flexibility to kind of choose a path, and my compensation and my role was not bound by that. I have a peer that's a vice president, and he's been in design and cranks out stormwater models on a daily basis, and we get paid the same and have the same title. And because we really just felt like, this is what he's good at, and that makes our product as a whole better, then he should be able to continue developing that. And if this is what I'm good at and like and enjoy doing, developing that. So I will warn you, because you get that impression at a lot of companies, and it seems kind of natural, but schooling necessarily didn't bring me up and teach me the skills that would be required to do some of the management stuff. So, just figured I'd share that one.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, we hear a lot too, in the IT field specifically, that there are certain skills that you require in terms of curriculum, but a lot of it you learn on the job. So it's really about finding a fit for the right company with kind of the foundational skill set, but you learn a lot of it just by practice and by doing it in the role. So,
Absolutely.
Sandy?
So my story, okay, so when I was in high school, I discovered that I loved math, and that was like my highest grade. I did well in all the classes, but I decided to go for computer science, and so I enrolled in computer science, and then within 6 months, I decided that I hated it. I didn't like writing code. It took me forever to write something that said hello back then. And so I decided that I wanted to go for electrical engineering. Electricity always kind of, had my interest. And my counselor, my advisor said, "Are you sure you want to go electrical engineering?" I'm like, "Yeah, why not?" At that time, it was like, male dominated. I was like 1 of 50 in New York City. But it went well, and through my bachelor's, I discovered summer internships with Honeywell in Minneapolis, and so I went to and did a couple of summer internships with 3 to be exact with them. They actually also gave me a scholarship for graduate school, and so I went to NYU and did a master's in electrical engineering there. And once I graduated, I went to work for Honeywell. They brought me into Minneapolis for an interview in January, 20 inches of snow. And and so I asked the HR person, I'm like, "Do you have any other locations that you need someone to work?" And they said, "Yeah, as a matter of fact, we do. Let me make a call." And they called Florida. We have a big campus here in Clearwater. And that's how I ended up in Clearwater. Worked with them for like over, including the internships over 9 years. And then I moved on to as a test engineer, then as systems engineer. Then I worked at L3 Harris. At that time, it was called L3 Technology. And I worked with them also as a test and systems engineer. And then I became a requirements manager. And so I kind of, my path was like, I knew from college that I didn't want to get into the design part of it. And so being a systems engineer was always kind of like I think what I wanted to do. And so I stood in that path for a while. I did different things, but then after a while it was like, okay, so if you want to grow, at that time, I needed to find something else. So the project management became an opportunity for me. And so I discovered project management, and the director of project management at that time, she invested in me and, showed me the ropes and what I needed to do and to become a good project manager, and I liked it, and that's what I've been doing since. And I've had different experiences with managing the customer, managing also the engineering team, and like Eric said, being an engineer and having your hands on the system, doing testing and requirements. So that made me be a better project manager, because then the team respects you because you've done what they're doing, the design and all that. It's been very rewarding for me, and I definitely like it. I think that for me, it's been taking opportunities, also looking for what else can I do. So if I chose something and I didn't like it, well, there must be something else that and so asking questions and going after finding mentors to help you move forward.
Over here and then.
So yeah, as opposed to Tim and Eric, where they thought that they could be engineers, I never thought that I could be or I want to be an engineer. To be honest, I didn't know like what to do after high school. But yeah, I was good at maths and science both. And to be honest, I tried almost everything in high school: maths, biology, economics, whatever. But then I realized that I cannot do everything. So I just chose whatever I was best at, maths. And then that led to me engineering. And engineering also by chance, I just chose computer science. That's like very honest opinion. I never thought that I will be a computer engineer writing the code or handling the big IT projects. No, never. This thought never came to my mind. And just because I love the maths and I love the computer science, as soon as I entered the engineering, one thing changed is that as soon as I realized that what computers can do and how they can change and what powers they have, I just fell in love with them. So I used to write the code all the time, everything. And then straight from the college, I got hired and started my journey as a software developer at the lowest level. Loved all 4 or 5 years of software development. Used to sit in the nights, days, just doing the software development. So I loved it. Like whatever I did, I just loved it. And yeah, that's a thing. So if you are not liking it or loving it, then you got to find something. Or else, if you are not able to find it, then at least try to find it. Or you're not going anywhere if you're not doing that. And then from there, as Eric said, that it's not always necessary to move into the management. If it comes naturally to you, yes, you can. If it doesn't come naturally to you, you can remain at what you do best. And from there on, I started doing the software development, 5, 6 years of software development in different business domains: banking, finance, insurance, and then finally started doing for our one of the biggest clients, which is Nielsen here in Florida. And I love their domain, I love their business, and so just like stuck with them. And from there onwards, started leading the team for few engineers at the start, 3 or 4 engineers, and we started managing a small projects, which were the part of the bigger programs. And because you don't get the responsibility in any organization up to a bigger level unless you prove yourself. Like they'll give you a small chances depending on your performance, but then nobody's going to give you a chance which you don't deserve. And for that you have to prove yourself. So after that, slowly started moving to the bigger projects. In fact, the first project which I rented, when it went to the production, it was a disaster. Because there was no problem with the skills, but the problem was that I didn't know that how an IT system runs every day in production, where your end clients can use that system. And I just knew that how to develop a particular piece of code. That's it. So I was good at it, but I didn't know how that system every day is going to run in production. And there has to be no errors. It has to run exactly like the business requirement. And if clients are not benefiting from it, then there is no use of developing it. So yeah, but I learned from it, and fortunately, these people gave me another chance, and then I knew what I did wrong, and then I corrected it. And then from there onwards, I'm managing the big IT projects. Currently, I'm managing almost roughly a team of 60-70 people, and we are managing like one of the biggest product in digital area of our client, which is Nielsen. And it has been a good experience. There has been ups and downs in all over the career, because sometimes you feel that okay, things are not moving, you're stuck, or maybe the work pressure is more, the stress is more, maybe you're not able to do the job as per the expectation or whatever. But yeah, if you like what you do and if you keep doing it, then yeah, then there will be some way. And I always try to do what naturally comes to me in my profile. I never try to do somebody else is doing it or getting maybe promotion earlier than me or a hike earlier than me, but I never tried it. Whatever comes naturally, if you think that yeah, that person is doing their job and you can also do it, yes, go ahead.
I like what you touched on earlier, maybe alluded to it, that the difference between sort of staying in the specialist route versus becoming a leader, and that you can do both and be equally successful. It sounds like that's kind of what you were saying. But you were a specialist for a while, and now you're managing this huge team of
Correct,
people, so
correct.
you can kind of do both.
Yeah, but it comes naturally. I mean, like
Sure.
I thought like still the team's majority of the work runs in technology. So I'm still day to day involved in their design discussions, in their problems, meeting with the architectures, figuring out the complex problems. So I still love that part of the job, but at the same time, you got to manage some people where you got to manage their aspirations, their whatever, their career plans, everything.
My story is a little less interesting than everyone else's story. I'm actually like don't have a technical background. I graduated with a sociology degree. So how I got into tech, I guess I'll get into that in a second. I graduated from like a really small university in Canada in 2017. I thought I wanted to be a social worker. So that's like the path that I took. And you have to do like practicum hours. And I worked in a group home and it did not go well. So I completely was like, hey, I'm not gonna do social work anymore. And I always knew that I wanted to move to Toronto, which is where I like spent the last couple of years. I actually got really lucky and I just kind of started applying. I didn't know I wanted to, so I'm a recruiter. Didn't really think that that's the career path I would have chosen for myself, but here I am 5 years later at the same company, so it's gone really well. Yeah, just started applying a bunch of places, got a call back, started off at my company that I'm currently still at, just as like a lower level recruiter. Over the years, just kind of like moved up. I'm not much of like, I don't think I have like the management part in me. I'm more just like kind of maybe what you were saying, like specializing kind of like in what I'm good at the recruitment part. So that's where I'm at right now as a lead recruiter. I don't manage a team, but I have like duties that like are the recruiters that are like a lower level don't have. But yeah, a little bit less interesting than your guys' stories.
No,
but
that's interesting.
yeah, no, just a little
no.
bit different. Yeah.
Yeah, just different. A theme that I heard is that each of your companies allow for moves into different areas or different types of roles that you don't necessarily have to leave your organization in order to get a different experience or to get a better job, meaning whatever's better for you. So I like to hear that you have that flexibility within your own organizations to grow and to do different things. That's I think becoming more of a theme than it used to be. So that's really nice to hear. I'll throw one last question that we didn't necessarily prepare, but if you guys could each if you had one piece of advice that you could give to your college self, what would it be?
When I was in college, what I could have done differently.
Yeah, like what if you could go back to your college self and give yourself advice based on what you know now, what would it be? Yeah, sure.
Mine's not really like, I would say be a little bit like easier on yourself. I don't know, it's not really related to all that, but I guess like I didn't do much IT, so I think they'll have a little bit better knowledge for you. But like I think back to my college self, and sometimes I'm like, and also like I think what you were saying, like don't really stress if you don't really know what you want to do. Like right now, if you're kind of feel like you're kind of like maybe in third year, second year, and you're like, I don't know what I want to do, you will figure it out. It will just kind of like whatever's meant to fall is gonna like fall where they may.
Yeah, eventually, if you're serious, you will figure it out.
Yeah, you'll figure it out. So like don't stress. Like I remember being in graduation, having no plans, no idea what I was gonna do, and like you just start to make moves. And so just be a little bit like easier on yourself if you're stressed about that. Like things will work out.
Fall into place.
Yes,
way
the
that
chips will
they're
fall
meant.
where they may.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you'll figure it out.
What I can think of is what I could have done differently in colleges. when you're in college, you probably give more emphasis on your courses and what you are here to learn and what your professors and teachers are teaching you, which is one part is going to help you for sure, but it it lacks a lot of things which you learn on the job, as you said, right? But like earlier, I used to think that okay, you did engineering, you have good knowledge, and you can do anything. No, that there are a lot of things which only comes from experience. You cannot learn anywhere else. You cannot learn in a book. You cannot learn in a classroom. Nowhere. There are some things which are only can be learned through the experience and which can only be coming to you over the period of the time. You cannot learn it like in a day. So just try to see the real world out there. So if you let's say you to give you an example, I was interested in software development, but I didn't know that which were the major organizations or major companies who do the software development, what kind of software development happens, what kind of tools company uses. So those kind of things you can explore now instead of waiting to get that knowledge on the job with your curriculum. Not going into detail, but if let's say you are interested in databases, then you should figure out which are the companies who works in databases. What are the kind of research going on? What are kind of works going on in databases? So those kind of like just fishing around that water that will help you when you go on the job, because going on the job, writing the code in college and writing the code in for a company or doing a live work for a company, that's like completely different. The stakes are much higher.
So you can do that by continuing to come to events like this.
That's right.
I think mine is more kind of just based on what I kind of see and hear at the career fairs when students come up and talk to me. It's kind of along those lines of like there's a big piece of getting into the industry or into a career that you can't learn in school, and one way to do that is co-ops, internships, kind of thing. And I get a lot of feedback from students as we're talking in career fairs of like, well, I don't want to delay my graduation. I don't want to delay my graduation. I mean, I'm biased because I did it and it worked out, but I'd say you do get a lot if you're able to get out and get experience in a professional career or professional field while you're still in school. It really helps you understand school better. It really sets you up for success after school. So I guess that's what I always say. It's like delaying your graduation a semester or two isn't, in the long run, is probably going to be a better move for you after you graduate.
And communicating with people like him is so much easier like the 10 years back. If you compare 10 years back, you have to write an email to a particular person, then you have to wait for a response, right? Nowadays, communication is so easy. So you can go anywhere, everything is online, you have access on your smartphone. So if you want, you can just start exploring and just talk to people. Like if you are gonna message him, he's gonna respond on LinkedIn, right? So it doesn't matter that you don't have to wait for something to happen in your career.
I feel like also claiming to be being a student a little bit longer. So I wish I could go back and be a student longer because adulting sometimes is a little bit tough. So be a student longer.
Unfortunately, in India, we don't have any system of delaying your graduation.
Oh,
So you have to complete it 4 years.
If I were to go back and give myself some advice, I probably would encourage myself to work on some soft skills, right? Some of the intangible stuff, communicating better, working with teams better. I would probably encourage myself to try to understand the bigger picture of some of the detailed work that I was doing. I think that has really been a shift in my career when I can see how some of the stuff fits together. It made me a better designer. It makes me a better understanding of it as a whole. So I'd say taking a step back and trying to see that holistically as opposed to just solving this problem as it ends to me. So, but yeah, definitely not. And then I would also say, I would encourage myself to put myself in uncomfortable situations, let myself grow a little bit, right? And so that's kind of the only way I've found that I've been able to develop any type of communication skills or team building or any of that stuff that doesn't necessarily come naturally and also is really hard to teach. Experience is kind of the only way to get it. So, it was really important to be good in school, really important that I got A's on my tests and stuff, but I think I might have sacrificed some of that other development just been focusing too hard on the other stuff. So
For me, I was always thinking, I'm like, well, what would I tell myself back then? Now knowing what I know now, I think I would have taken a year after graduating and just travel, go to Europe, and because then life gets busy and just it's not as easy anymore. You get married, you get children, or life just gets hectic. But sometimes we push ourselves to the point of being stressed out and anxious about, when am I going to graduate? What am I going to do? What job I'm going to, go for? If I don't get a job right now, it's not going to come later. So those things, right at the moment, it may seem like they're like this huge mountains that you have to climb, but in the, when you look back at it, you're like, what was I thinking about it? What was I worried about? I wish I would have went back and taken some time to just do something that I really enjoy doing. And then, that's the rest, the rest will come.
I like that answer.
Yeah. Great advice from all of you. Thank you. Appreciate that. Any questions from you guys in the morning? We have on the live stream chat.
I have a question. Eric, you mentioned about like teachable and how you really want to have candidates that are teachable. Can you describe like what the top kind of qualities are that you're looking for that make candidates the most teachable?
yeah, it's a great question, and I was just thinking about that as Sam was sharing. I mean, even at the career fairs when they come up and I can tell that they're uncomfortable, but they're like making themselves do it. Oh man, I go crazy for that, and I really don't know how. The only way I know how to communicate is giving like immediate feedback, and so a lot of times I'll encourage these students and say, hey, you did a good job and you're doing well and don't be nervous and doing stuff. As far as like some of the characteristics that we look for with being teachable and how we can identify that, it is tough, and we've had to kind of learn how to do that because, but really I think we appreciate a bit of humility. Like we want you to be good at what you do, but we want you to understand that you're early on in your career and there is a lot more left to learn. We look for candidates that are like excited about that development in the future and are looking for a place that will develop them. We think that kind of lends well, as opposed to somebody that comes up to present to them to us how great they are, and even though we want great people, it's just that style of presentation seems to be more receptive to that, and that has correlated with folks that have ended up coming in and doing a little better. So.
As far as like transitioning from being a student to like working in your respective fields, what would you say like the biggest hurdle you guys had to overcome with that?
Biggest, you mean, sorry, can you repeat the question? Biggest?
So like when you're in school and you're learning the coursework and trying to apply what you learned to your job, what would you say like once you got into your industry or like your first job, second job, what was like the hardest thing for you to adjust to from getting out of school?
I mean, it can vary from person to person. To me, adjusting to the formal environment of the office, you can't do everything you want. There are certain rules, there are certain responsibilities. Stakes are much higher. It's not college, it's not your classroom where you can decide your schedule. So those are the things which are hard for me to understand. And initially I used to think that why should I follow all of the rules? But then they are there for your own growth and for company's growth. So that was the hardest thing for me. Now it can vary person by person.
For me, it was I was nervous that I would not be able to do my job, whatever I was hired for, because I just didn't know how can I transfer what I learned in school over to what I'm going to do at work. And they don't tell you exactly what you're going to do. They might tell you the title, but you don't know what all that is involved. And then when I got there, I was like, this is the easiest thing in the world. I can do this. I'm like, it was harder for me to be in college than actually doing my job. Obviously, like Dagan said, right, that the hardest part sometimes, most of the times, is actually at the engine rooms. Getting there on time, leaving on time, you know, your lunch hour doesn't count as your hours, your work hours.
Yeah.
So it's really just logistics of your daily job. But once you get there and you get, you know, I believe that school really is to prepare you to learn anything and to be able to be disciplined and to be able to follow a goal, to follow rules, or to follow a job description and be able to do it without eventually, like within 3 or 6 months, without much help. And the rest is really comes really natural to you.
And it gets more complicated as you move forward, right? Like you will have
Yeah.
family, you will have kids, so you have to adjust your time, you have to make a schedule, you have to finish up your work at 5 so that you can give your time to kids. So you have to be very disciplined. There is no other way about it. Like, yes, people can tell that you can relax. Yes, you can relax. But then if you have disciplined your work schedule, then you can relax. If you don't, then you are going to be stressed out.
There's some good stuff too. You get
Oh, yeah.
your
Yeah.
financial freedom.
Yeah.
And you get to go. So there's some good aspects to that too. Yep.
Um, Yeah, I think to speak of the
If
professional.
you're disciplined, all the good things will come to you.
Of course.
Asking the hard questions, so it's not the sound.
Right. No, it's good. One thing that stands out in engineering, I know like in school, the questions are designed for you to find the right answer. But a lot of times in work, I mean, we're just looking for like a little better answer, right? So we're taking hundreds of variables. I can't speak to every form of engineering, but hundreds of variables, trying to find balance and put them together that works. And there might be a little better design, and that's where some experience will kind of come into it. But we don't get that satisfaction of like, oh, I circled B, it's on the Scantron, you get the check, and then it's B. And that was kind of that like feedback was something that I liked in school, and that, you know, was a little bit of a struggle to get used to in work. And then some of the other parts are, it won't always be as clearly defined as what you're supposed to do next. We have some, and we encountered this with our interns, right? They'll finish a task that they're working on, and then if I don't go by and ask them, they might just be sitting there waiting, and I don't get too hard on them because they don't know any better, right? That's kind of what the whole deal is, to kind of teach them, you know, well, you got to come and seek out some more stuff and, you know, be a part of that. So navigating through that nuance is complex and intimidating, but everybody's doing it and we're doing it, and it's pretty cool too. Good question.
No, I mean, I agree with actually a lot of that stuff. I mean, I think for one other thing for me was like, the role I went into was pretty light on like design. Well, there wasn't any like design engineering. So it was realizing that like all the stuff I just learned at school, I didn't know anything for what I was actually doing. So like you realize that you really have to lean on the people that you work with, to kind of learn on the job what you're supposed to be doing. So.
I would say, I completely agree with all that. I would say, I guess it's like not totally related to the job, but like realizing how expensive things are in like actual life. I think that was like one of the biggest hurdles. Like I picked up my role, like I've been doing the same thing for a while, so picked up quite quickly. But like as a student, a lot of times you have support from wherever it comes from, financially or emotionally, whatever. But yeah, no, like rent and my parents, yeah, picking up the family phone plan. Like, yeah, not realizing that my dad was paying my phone bill and all this stuff while I was in school. And then like out of nowhere, they're just like, figure it out. And I'm like, I have no idea what I'm doing. So I would say that's also tough because like it could go, you're also trying to navigate how to do this new job, but then you're also trying to navigate life as well. You figure it out. Like, I think I'm still learning. I think we're all learning things every day. But like, yeah, you just gotta take it one day at a time, I would say. Yeah.
That's a good question. We have time for one more question? For anyone?
I have another one. If else has another one.
Yeah.
So you said that early learning experience would be good, so things like co-ops and internships. In lieu of those, I guess, in absence, would there be other things to show experience or gain experience before?
I can tell specifically to IT, when I take interviews for the graduates, it doesn't necessarily very important to me that whether they did the internship or not. But if they are saying that they are good at something, then they would have to show something for it, right? Like with some projects which are not a part of their curriculum. This shows your interest, that which shows that okay, you were interested in this thing, you build it. Whether it's complete or not, it doesn't matter. Whether you put the effort or not, that's the thing that matters. So yes, you can explore the things outside of your curriculum, build projects, and then you can show them in the interviews. Everybody will consider it.
I would say too, even things outside of career-related endeavors and academics, leadership roles as parts of clubs and organizations on campus. I think that really helps to develop different skills that you could bring to the workplace. So there are those avenues as well.
Yeah, one of the things that are trending right now is how well do you fit with the company? So a lot of times, even if you don't have, let's say, a project that you did on your own because you didn't get an internship or you didn't also have time to do a project, but if you project yourself and you learn how to interview and project yourself as being, easygoing, you get along with others, you're a team player, you listen, you're teachable, all these kind of things, and then kind of like, are they going to like you and are you going to like them? So it's kind of like a both ways.
It's like a vibe. I know students are really big on vibes, so. Lucky for us, I would just say, just based on our company, well, I guess lucky for students, we actually don't look for any sort of like previous or like any internship or co-ops, because like we specialize in recruiting new grads. So like even if you don't have like too many projects, we're really just looking to expand on what you learned in school and put it up to like an industry standard. So when you do go on site with our clients, you're like not surprised about the transition. But yeah, no, any of you guys are very interested. Yeah, we are not looking for like any kind of experience or anything like that. That's just speaking on behalf of what I.
Yeah, same for us as well. Like you're saying about school activities, school clubs, leadership roles, work you've done outside of school. All that stuff applies. And I agree with what Jogan said too about the, that was a good, I agree with what you said. I like that. So.
Look, you are asking that person for a job, right? Like you're saying that, okay, I'm good enough to be able to work in your company, right? So you have to have some small thing to show for it, right? Like it's not like that anybody's going to take a word for it. So it can be a very small thing. So I'll give you an example. I was taking one interview and I was not able to find anything which I could agree on that I should hire that person. And then I said that, okay, in engineering, what was your favorite subject? And he couldn't tell me the favorite subjects basics also. And then I said that, okay, can you solve the problems at least? So he said, yes. So I said, can you solve the puzzles? He said, yes, I'm a big fan of puzzles. I gave him 3 puzzles. He solved them instantly in a hard. The thing is that if he is diligent into the thing which he is saying, that skill is transferable. That skill is transferable to any job. I can make him learn coding, but that diligence and that that effort, putting effort, that thing has to be there. And that can be shown with a very small thing also. It doesn't need to be big internship or big project. It can be shown with a very small things.
Okay. Well, in the interest of time, we're going to wrap up. Thank you so much for your time being here. We will be sending out an overview of just our panel in terms of everyone's bio and what the company is about, so you'll get more information, and definitely stay in touch. Come to the career fairs next semester, and we'll get those dates out to you soon. And I want to thank our panelists very much for spending an hour with us and talking about your careers. It's been very enlightening for sure. And then just one more thing, on your way out, we have some materials that you could take just regarding career development and some of the opportunities that we have in our office to provide you with career readiness and coaching and resume critiques and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, thank you, everyone.
Thanks.
Thank you.